set. All right, guys, one of the most common things that you're going to encounter is some kind of altercation where a person decides to go from threatening you or threatening behavior to physical behavior. One of the most common ways that's going to happen is through attacking you with punches. So punch defense is going to be one of the first things we're going to cover. When we think of punch defense, we as a company, PFC, Code 4, we don't think of multiple techniques depending on what kind of punch our adversary is throwing. What we think about is sticking to some core principles, some fundamental principles or concepts that will allow us to not get hurt by that punch. We want to play the mathematical odds. So if I can reduce the odds that his initial attack on me is going to be effective and going to either knock me out, knock me silly, if I can reduce those odds through doing some very fundamental things, well then it increases my odds that I'm going to come out of that initial attack intact, and then I'm going to be able to mount whatever counterattack is appropriate, or even get away from the situation. I'm going back to that again. So we have three core fundamentals that we deal with when we're dealing with punch defense. And the first one is, when someone attacks me with strikes, I want to cover. I want to cover myself. We call these the 3 C's. They're all going to start with the letter C to try to help you remember them. So I'm going to cover against that initial attack. I'm not going to block punches. I'm not going to chase punches. We'll go into that in a second on why we don't do that. The second thing I need to do if someone's trying to strike me with their fist is I need to control distance. Against a strike, I either want to be outside the reach or I want to be inside the reach, close or far, but I don't want to get caught right at the end of those punches. That's where I'm going to get hurt, and I'm going to get hit with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 punches. So I want to control distance. Another aspect of controlling distance is understanding clearly where I can make space safely. Because I might want space. I might not want to be next to this guy. But how you make that space is vital, and we'll show you why when we drill controlling the distance. The last C principle that we have is going to be creating angles. I want to go back to that fundamental principle of my hip space in, his hip space away, I'm winning. It's very, very hard to punch me effectively if I get on your hip or on your back. It's super hard to land effective strikes when I get into those positions. So our 3 C's are going to be cover, control that distance, and then create angles. If I do those 3 things on a regular basis, it's going to be hard to knock me out. For covering, why don't we block punches? I get asked that quite a bit. Why don't we do some kind of blocking system that accounts? I just did the robot. That was awesome. But why don't we chase punches or block? The reason that we don't block punches is several-fold. Number one is, but most of them come down to math once again, is that mathematically, am I more likely to be faster discerning which hand is coming, the angle, and then intercepting that hand, or covering myself? Which one would be a mathematically faster response to contact? Obviously, I can cover myself more quickly than I can figure out where your hand's going and then block your hand. Another reason we do this is if you faked a right hand and I did this and then you threw a left hand and hit me, or if you faked a right hand and threw a left and I covered, which one's going to do more damage to me? Obviously, if I'm wrong, if I'm blocking and I'm wrong, I'm going to eat a punch. If I'm covering and I'm wrong, I'm still covered. So we believe that it offers you more protection to cover against punches than to chase them. And the last thing I'd invite you to just think about, because a lot of self-defense systems are going to tell you, intercept that punch. They're going to tell you, intercept and wrap that arm. The last thing I'd ask you to think critically about is, if blocking punches works, why are there no professional boxers, no professional Muay Thai guys, no professional MMA guys who block punches? People will say that's a sport, and it is. I get it. But the sport is punch you in the face till you either get knocked out or you lose. So the sport is all about punching you. If blocking punches worked, we would see a lot of guys who fight professionally doing this. But we don't. And the reason we don't is that under pressure and stress, it's extremely hard to block punches. So let's deal with that cover principle. We're going to show you several drills to teach you how to cover better right now. Hey guys, we're going to show you several drills that are going to help you with covering. Robert's going to be out here helping me with these. Twofold things we want to do here. Number one is start getting you comfortable with the concept if it's new to you, or even if you do it already, maybe sharpen you a little bit. Number two will be, this is also a way for us to kind of get you used to, for lack of a better term, being punched. In law enforcement, many times we'll do scenarios where we shoot sim guns, we shoot sim rounds, which are similar to a paintball gun, and we'll have scenarios where we shoot at each other so that it begins to inoculate the guys against the stress of being shot at. A covering drill can inoculate you against that stress of being punched, if that's something that stresses you out or something you're not used to. I don't want you to have a bad reaction in an actual fight to being punched. The only way to help you prepare for that is to punch you a little bit in training. But we want to do that within reason. Anytime you train any of these drills we're going to show you, you should go at an appropriate pace, like you're going to see Robert and I go at a very appropriate pace, where we're not likely to harm each other, but we're still getting training value. And anytime he and I want to speed up and actually begin to spar or hit harder, we're going to agree to that, put in mouthpieces. We're not huge headgear guys, but we might wear headgear depending. And we're going to make sure that both guys know we're going hard. For purposes of these drills, we're going to do that crawl, walk, run theory. And you're going to see us at a crawling or walking speed, as opposed to going full speed like crazy people. Okay? So, covering. Couple different ways we can cover. I can cover with what we call a half shell, which is very similar to a Muay Thai hair comb block, or a full shell, which would be both hands right in front of me. So Robert feeds his lead hand to me, boom, and I'm covering. He can feed either hand, go ahead and throw that other hand, and I'm covering. What I don't want you to do is, as he feeds one of those hands at me, I don't want you to think about which hand is it and which hand do I cover with, because then we're going back to blocking. If Robert throws a rounded right hand, like a big, hey look, I don't want you coming out here and covering, because now you're blocking again. When I cover, I stay center line on Robert, and I just cover up against punches as they come. There we go. Boom, boom. And I'm just staying right